Season 1 of Once Upon a Time introduces the hardened bounty hunter Emma Swan, who is visited by her 10-year-old son Henry that she had given up for adoption at birth. Emma agrees to drop him back off in his home of Storybrooke, Maine, and on their journey, Henry insists that the characters from his fairy tale book are real, and that Emma is in fact the daughter of Snow White and Prince Charming. Emma is skeptical of Henry's outlandish claims, but decides to remain in Storybrooke to connect with her son. Despite Emma's skepticism of Henry's claims, his fairy tale story turns out to be very much true. In the otherworldly enchanted forest, Snow White and Prince Charming fell in love and got married. While pregnant with their first child, they became concerned about their unborn child's safety due to Snow White's evil stepmother, who is queen of the enchanted forest. And so they visited the imprisoned trickster Rumplestiltskin for help. Rumplestiltskin warned them of their future and that their baby would be the savior in a future final battle. Shortly after, the conniving evil queen placed a curse on all of the enchanted forest, transporting its many characters to Storybrooke, erasing their memories, giving them new identities, and trapping them within the town by a magical barrier. Just before the curse reached them, Snow White and Prince Charming placed their newborn daughter Emma into a magical wardrobe that transports her to the real world. Only the evil queen, who is now Storybrooke's mayor Regina Mills, remembers her true identity. In the real world, Emma meets Henry's adoptive mother Regina, his therapist Archie Hopper, secretly Jiminy Cricket, and his teacher Margaret Blanchard, who is in fact Emma's mother Snow White. Also living in Storybrooke is the Huntsman, who is now the town sheriff Humbert. Rumpelstiltskin is now Mr. Gold, a shady pawn shop owner, and Prince Charming is now a man named David Nolan, who wakes up from a coma and develops innate romantic feelings for Margaret, despite being married to a woman named Catherine. Emma becomes the deputy sheriff, serving alongside Sheriff Graham, and the two grow closer, despite Graham being in a manipulative relationship with Regina. As Emma and Graham begin a secret romance, the sheriff starts having visions of his previous life, and upon sharing his first kiss with Emma, he remembers everything. But that romance is cut short when a spiteful Regina takes the heart of Graham and crushes it, killing him instantly. Following Graham's death, Emma becomes Storybrooke's new sheriff and is resolved to uncover all of Regina's secrets. Meanwhile, Regina also must deal with Mr. Gold, who she discovers has also retained his memories of his past life. Unbeknownst to Gold, Regina has imprisoned his long-lost love Belle in an insane asylum. Fearing Emma will lift the curse and take Henry from her, Regina attempts to murder her rival with a poisoned apple. In order to protect Emma, Henry eats the poison instead and falls into a coma. With Henry's life on the line, Emma is forced to believe in magic and align with Regina to save their son. They venture under the town's clock tower to face the imprisoned dragon Maleficent, who guards Rumpelstiltskin's true love potion. Although Emma defeats the dragon, Mr. Gold arrives to steal the potion for himself. Without the potion, Henry succumbs to the poison and dies. As Emma kisses the forehead of her deceased son, her true love for him is powerful enough to not only bring him back to life, but lift the curse on all of Storybrooke, leading to an emotional reunion between Snow White and Prince Charming. As the season comes to a close, Belle escapes from the mental asylum and reunites with Mr. Gold. As Gold pours the true love potion into a wishing well, a purple cloud envelops the entire town, bringing magic back to Storybrooke. You don't need to live in a fairy tale to have better, thicker hair. You just need this video sponsor, MD Hair. Now listen, I'm pushing 30 and my hair isn't as thick as it used to be, and that's a problem I want to be proactive about while I still can. And MD Hair makes that super simple for me. They sent me a personalized hair care kit that came with hair restore supplements, marine collagen, customized hair care shampoo and conditioner, and a dermatologist formulated hair care serum. To start off, you just take a quiz and submit some photos on their website, and their technology analyzes everything to get you a customized treatment kit with everything you need to fit your personal needs. This technology is also great because it can help you track your hair growth journey over time. I know I personally can feel pretty discouraged when I look in a mirror and I don't notice any real changes, but when I look back and see my actual hair growth progress, I feel really excited and motivated. The hair restore supplements come in vegan capsules that make it super quick and easy to take care of my hair and get on with my day. The marine collagen not only helps improve my hair health, but also the health of my skin, nails, and joints. The dermatologist formulated serum is easy to apply, and it helps block the hormone DHT, which is the most common cause of hair loss in men and women. And the shampoo and conditioner help block DHT, eliminate frizz and tangles, and just make my hair look thicker, healthier, and shinier. I've really loved all of my hair care products from MD Hair. They're super convenient to use, and they make me feel so much more confident about my hair's look and longevity. So if for any reason you're looking for help on your hair growth journey, sign up for MD Hair and get your own customized kit. And if you use promo code RECAP70, you'll get 70% off your first month of products. Link is in the description. Now let's get back to the recap. In Season 2 of Once Upon a Time, Mr. Gold unleashes a monstrous wraith to consume Regina's soul. Despite Regina's villainous ways, Emma doesn't want Henry's stepmother to die, and saves her from the wraith by banishing it to the Enchanted Forest. Unfortunately, Emma is pulled into the magical realm with the monster, and Snow White follows them in an effort to protect her daughter. In the Enchanted Forest, Emma and Snow discover that some fairy tale characters were never affected by the curse, but have been frozen in time for the past 28 years. The mother and daughter team up with Princess Aurora, Mulan, and Lancelot on their journey to find a way back to Storybrooke, while facing off against Regina's evil mother, the Queen of Hearts, Cora. Cora seeks her own way to Storybrooke in an effort to reunite with Regina and finally meet her grandson Henry. Cora teams up with the pirate Captain Hook, who has his own vendetta with Rumplestiltskin. Years ago, Rumpelstiltskin's wife Mila, tired of her husband's cowardice, abandoned him and their young son Baelfire to be with Hook. Enraged by this betrayal, Rumpelstiltskin murdered Mila and cut off Hook's hand, vowing to continue making the pirate's life miserable. In Storybrooke, the former inhabitants of the Enchanted Forest are unable to leave the town without forgetting their past lives. Prince Charming rallies the townsfolk and inspires them all to embrace both their original fairy tale identities and their new real-world identities. He takes Henry from Regina, and the two begin searching for ways to bring Emma and Snow White home. A shrunken giant named Anton also becomes a member of the Seven Dwarves and helps them grow a crop of magical beanstalks, which could give the residents of Storybrooke the ability to return to the Enchanted Forest. When Regina uses her magic to help Emma and Snow return to Storybrooke, Henry reconciles with his adoptive mother. But things quickly get complicated when Cora and Hook secretly find their own way to Storybrooke. Despite Cora's desire to reunite with her daughter, Regina wants nothing to do with her evil mother, who had murdered Regina's true love in a scheme to have her instead marry the king. Meanwhile, Mr. Gold finds a way to leave Storybrooke to reunite with his long-lost son Baelfire, who had been banished to Earth as a child due to Gold choosing magic over him. Emma and Henry then accompany Gold to New York City to find Baelfire. While there, Emma is shocked to discover that Baelfire is actually her former lover Neil. Upon arriving on Earth as a child, Baelfire took on the name Neil Cassidy and became a petty thief, where he eventually met and fell in love with Emma. Despite their plans to run away together, Neil learned that Emma had a destiny to fulfill that Neil would only distract from, and so Neil left her. Unbeknownst to Neil, Emma had become pregnant with his child Henry. Now in the present, Neil meets Henry, the son he never knew he had, and has a contentious reunion with his father, rejecting Gold's apologies. The family reunion is broken when Hook arrives to once again enact revenge on Gold, stabbing him with a poisoned hook. Neil, Emma, and Henry race Gold back to Storybrooke in an attempt to save his life, and the prospect of losing his father allows Neil to accept Gold's apology and finally forgive him. Meanwhile, with no more use for Hook, Cora betrays him and teams up with Regina to find the Dark One's dagger that gives Gold his power, but can also be used to control him and is the only weapon which can kill him. Cora wants to use the dagger to force Gold into murdering Snow White, Prince Charming, and Emma Swan, so that Regina can have Henry all to herself. Regina pushes back against this plan, knowing Henry would never be able to forgive her for such a cold-hearted act. To save her family, Snow White tricks Regina into poisoning her own mother, causing Cora to die in Regina's arms. Regina is left devastated and bitter over Cora's death, while Snow is despondent over her violent act. And although Cora has been defeated, Storybrooke is not safe, as Captain Hook teams up with a pair of humans, Tamara and Greg, who seek to destroy all magic. After they steal all of the magic beans and a black diamond from Regina that has the power to destroy all of Storybrooke, the former evil queen is forced to unite with with all of her enemies to save the town. Tamara uses a magic bean to banish Neil to another world, but not before he professes his continued love for Emma. Hook becomes disillusioned with Tamara and Greg's plan to destroy Storybrooke and its inhabitants, causing him to join forces with Emma and the others. Emma combines her burgeoning magical powers with Regina's to stop the diamond from destroying the town, but their celebration is short-lived, as Greg and Tamara kidnap Henry and flee through a magical portal. Hook offers to use the last remaining magic bean that he stole to captain his pirate ship, the Jolly Roger, through a magical portal of his own to save Henry. And so Emma, Regina, Snow White, Prince Charming, and Mr. Gold set aside their differences to accompany Hook aboard his ship to rescue Henry from a place called Neverland. In Season 3 of Once Upon a Time, Tamara and Greg take Henry to their boss, who it turns out is actually Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. With no more use for the humans, the Lost Boys kill Tamara and Greg, while Peter captures Henry. Peter Pan orchestrated the capture of Henry as the boy contains the heart of the truest believer, which the dying Peter needs to become immortal. Meanwhile, Neil wakes up in the Enchanted Forest and begins searching for a way to reunite with his family. After discovering Henry has been captured by Peter Pan in Neverland, he gets some help from Robin Hood to travel to Neverland and save his son. Neil has a history with Peter Pan and Neverland, as before traveling to Earth, he found himself there. First, he befriended Captain Hook, whose relationship with Mila made him view Neil as a surrogate son. But when Neil discovered that Mila abandoned him to be with Hook, destroying their family, a bitter Hook trades Neil to Peter and the Lost Boys. When Neil learned of Peter's villainous quest to obtain the heart of the truest believer, he fled Neverland and found himself on Earth. Meanwhile, Hook leads Emma, Snow, Charming, Regina, and Gold to Neverland, where they continue their quest to find and save Henry. Emma, thinking that Neil is dead, grows closer to Hook, and the two eventually share a kiss. When Neil reunites with the group, he and Hook begin fighting over Emma's heart, but Emma rebukes them both, stating that Henry will always be the most important to her. As the group prepare for their battle against Peter Pan, they team up with a magicless Tinkerbell, the orphan Lost Boys, and the human Wendy Darling, who has been a captive of Peter's for decades. Gold then reveals that Peter Pan is actually his father, who abandoned him and used the power of the evil shadow to become the immortal child Peter Pan. In the end, Gold proves his loyalty to his found family by sealing his father Peter inside Pandora's box. With Henry saved, the entire group sails back to Storybrooke, unaware that Peter Pan has actually possessed Henry's body, and plans on recursing the town to turn it into the new Neverland. As Pan's curse spreads, Gold manages to place Henry back into his own body, then uses the Dark One's dagger to kill his father, sacrificing himself in the process. Although Peter is killed, his curse still threatens the town. Regina reluctantly says goodbye to Emma and Henry, as they are from the real world and won't be affected by the curse. As a parting gift, Regina places a spell on them that causes them to forget all about Storybrooke and the Enchanted Forest, but replaces those lost memories with a lifetime of happy ones. And so Emma and Henry say goodbye to their friends and family as the curse overtakes the town. 1 year later, Captain Hook seeks out the memoryless Emma and Henry to help save the friends and family they have forgotten even exist. 1 year prior, after first arriving back in the Enchanted Forest, the Wicked Witch of the West, Zelena, and her army of flying monkeys have taken over the Queen's castle, displacing Regina, Snow, and Charming from their home. They take refuge in Sherwood Forest with Robin Hood, who offers to help them defeat the wicked and oppressive Zelena. As the group devises a plan to liberate the Enchanted Forest, Regina falls in love with Robin and realizes that he is the true love that she had previously been prophesied to meet. Regina also discovers that Zelena is her half-sister, who wants to take everything that Regina has been given, as she was forced to grow up with nothing. Meanwhile, Neil and Belle search for a way to bring back their beloved Rumplestiltskin. They travel to the Vault of the Dark One, where Neil unlocks the vault and resurrects his father. Unfortunately, the cost to resurrect Gold is another life, and Neil becomes cursed to die. In an effort to save his son, Gold absorbs Neil into himself, causing him to go mad. As time passes, Snow and Charming become pregnant with a new baby and join Regina in visiting Glinda, the Good Witch of the South, who reveals that Zelena's magic is derived from her necklace, but only the most powerful light magic could remove it. Snow realizes that only Emma can defeat Zelena, and so they would need to travel back to Storybrooke. And so Snow and Charming help Regina place another curse upon the enchanted forest. After finding Emma in New York City, Hook gives her the potion to restore her memories. They then travel with Henry back to Storybrooke, where Emma reunites with her family. Eventually, the wicked Zelena reveals herself to the town and goes about setting her true plan in motion to use Charming's courage, Gold's brain, Regina's heart, and Snow's baby to create a time travel curse that would allow her to ensure Regina was never born, giving Zelena the life she always wanted. Zelena has also obtained the Dark One's dagger, which allows her to control Gold and force him to do her bidding. When Emma confronts Gold, she manages to separate Neil from his body, causing Gold to regain his sanity. Unfortunately, the cursed Neil then dies in the arms of his family. When Zelena confronts Emma and gives her a choice to save her magic or Hook's life, Emma chooses to save Hook. Fortunately, everyone agrees that the reformed Regina is now strong enough with her light magic to defeat Zelena. With the belief of her family and friends, Regina battles Zelena and takes her necklace, stripping the Wicked Witch of her powers. Unfortunately, a vengeful Gold uses the Dark One dagger to murder Zelena, unleashing her time travel curse upon the town. Emma and Hook are pulled through a time portal and arrive in a past version of the Enchanted Forest, where they accidentally sabotage the moment Prince Charming and Snow White first fell in love. In order to restore the timeline and ensure her birth, Emma and Hook must make Snow and Charming fall in love, all the while avoiding the wrath of the still evil Queen Regina. Emma and Hook successfully make Snow and Charming fall in love, and Emma discovers that she still has some magic left, which she uses to reopen the time portal to return home. The duo are also accompanied by a stranger who had been imprisoned by Regina. In the present, Emma is reunited with her family, and Snow and Charming reveal that they have decided to name their newborn baby Neil. Gold and Belle finally get married, Emma and Hook share a kiss, and the stranger from the past is revealed to be Maid Marian, the wife of Robin Hood he thought to have been dead. The reunion of Robin and Marian devastates Regina, who blames Emma for ruining her happy ending. As the season comes to a close, it's revealed that Emma, Hook, and Marian weren't the only ones who returned to Storybrooke, as a mysterious urn from Rumpelstiltskin's vault had also fallen through the portal and released the magical ice princess Elsa. In Season 4 of Once Upon a Time, Elsa's history and the meaning behind her arrival in Storybrooke are revealed. Years ago, the parents of Anna and Elsa, the King and Queen of Arendelle, died in a shipwreck while traveling to the Enchanted Forest to find a cure for Elsa's uncontrollable ice powers. When Elsa feels guilty for causing her parents' death, her loving sister Anna travels to the Enchanted Forest to learn the truth. Once there, Anna meets Rumpelstiltskin, who claims her parents visited him to find a way to remove Elsa's power. Rumpel sought after a sorcerer's hat which could absorb magic from anyone, making him the most powerful magic user. But Anna steals the hat for herself. Upon arriving back in Arendelle, Elsa introduces Anna to their long-lost aunt, the Snow Queen Ingrid. While Ingrid claims to want to reunite with her family and teach Elsa how to control her powers, Anna is skeptical. Anna learns that her mother had two sisters, Ingrid and Helga, but after Ingrid's ice powers accidentally killed Helga, Anna's mother trapped her in a magical urn and erased all memories of Ingrid's existence from Arendelle. Upon discovering that Anna has uncovered her past, Ingrid curses her niece and steals the sorcerer's hat. The cursed Anna then views Elsa as a monster, just like her mother had done to Ingrid, and traps Elsa inside the urn. Ingrid then takes the urn and freezes all of Arendelle, including Anna and her fiancé Kristoff. Ingrid then travels to Earth, where she briefly becomes Emma Swan's foster mother. And back in Arendelle, after 30 years of being frozen, the land finally thaws, leading to the villainous Hans teaming up with the pirate Blackbeard to capture Anna and Kristoff and take over the land for himself. In Storybrooke in the present, the recently released Elsa aligns with the town to find and rescue Anna, while the Snow Queen Ingrid secretly frames Elsa's uncontrollable ice powers for committing many crimes against the townsfolk, like freezing Maid Marian's heart. When Robin Hood's kiss doesn't unfreeze Marian, he realizes that she is no longer his true love. Meanwhile, Gold wants to use the Sorcerer's Hat to absorb Emma and her magic, making him powerful enough to break the hold that the Dark One dagger has on him. Gold helps Ingrid curse all of Storybrooke, turning them against each other, just like Ingrid's sisters turned on her. Ingrid's curse spares only Elsa and Emma, who she wants to become her replacement sisters. Elsa makes a wish to be reunited with Anna, causing her imprisoned sister and Kristoff to wash up on Storybrooke's shore. Anna and Elsa share an emotional reunion, and Anna finds a message in a bottle from their dead mother, stating her regrets for turning on Ingrid all those years ago. When they show that message to Ingrid, she has a change of heart, apologizing to Anna and Elsa, affirming her love for her lost sisters, and sacrificing herself to lift the curse on Storybrooke. Elsa, Anna, and Kristoff then return to Arendelle to liberate it from the villainous Hans. Amidst Ingrid's chaos, Gold tries to enact his own villainous plan, stealing Hook's heart and forcing him to do his bidding by absorbing the magic of the town's fairy inhabitants. With their power in the Sorcerer's Hat, Gold attempts to break the Dark One's hold on him. Belle arrives with the Dark One's dagger, realizing that Gold would always choose power over love. She uses the dagger to give Hook his heart back and banishes Gold from Storybrooke. Meanwhile, Marian's frozen heart won't heal, and Regina urges Robin to take his wife and son out of Storybrooke, where the magicless world will cure Marian's heart. Robin and Regina share an emotional goodbye before the Hood family departs. A heartbroken Regina is determined to have a happy ending and seeks out the author of Henry's book of fairy tales to ensure he writes her one. But Regina isn't the only one searching for the author, as Gold teams up with the Queens of Darkness, Maleficent, Ursula, and Cruella de Vil to find the author and ensure that the villains finally win. The Queens help Gold re-enter Storybrooke, and their arrival scares Snow White and Prince Charming, who have long kept a dark secret from Emma. While pregnant with their daughter, Snow and Charming discovered that she had the potential to become evil, and so they sought the help of the Sorcerer's Apprentice, who could ensure Emma's goodness by infusing evil into another child. And so they stole the egg of the dragon Maleficent, which the apprentice infused with darkness and banished to Earth. Maleficent's daughter then hatched as an orphaned human baby, leaving Snow and Charming guilt-ridden. Maleficent's orphaned daughter Lily then became good friends with the orphaned Emma, though she has spent her entire life plotting revenge against Snow and Charming. Lily and Maleficent then reunite in Storybrooke, where Lily transforms into a dragon to enact her revenge. Maleficent has a change of heart and helps her daughter instead show forgiveness. Meanwhile, Regina discovers that Zelena is secretly alive, having killed Marian and posed as her to steal Robin from Regina. And to complicate things even further, Zelena becomes pregnant with Robin's child. Regina reveals this insidious truth to Robin, but promises to spare Zelena for the sake of Robin's unborn baby. As Regina continues her quest to find the author to rewrite her ending, it is actually Gold who succeeds. Gold helps the author Isaac write a new book entitled Heroes and Villains, which transports all of the characters back to an alternate version of the Enchanted Forest, where Snow White is now the evil queen, Prince Charming is her loyal villainous soldier, Regina is Snow White, and Rumplestiltskin is a heroic knight. Only Henry is unaffected by this new story, and he seeks out Isaac to change things back. Because Isaac has written himself his own happy ending, he has violated the author's code and can no longer write magical stories. And so it is up to Henry to save his friends and family. Henry is chosen as the new author and reverts everything back to normal before breaking the magical quill, giving everyone the free will to live out their own stories. As the season comes to a close, the Sorcerer's Apprentice helps Gold remove the darkness from his heart by absorbing it into his magical hat. Unfortunately, the darkness escapes, threatening to destroy everyone. Emma sacrifices herself to absorb the darkness, becoming the new Dark One. In Season 5 of Once Upon a Time, Emma's friends and family travel to Camelot to seek out the wizard Merlin, in the hopes he can rid Emma of her darkness. Several weeks later, the group arrives back in Storybrooke, with only Emma retaining her memories of their time in Camelot. As Emma's friends and family try to uncover the truth behind their forgotten adventure, the Dark Emma wants to remove the sword Excalibur from its stone, which would give her the power to vanquish all light. After retrieving Excalibur, Emma merges it with the Dark One's dagger, making her the most powerful Dark One ever. As part of Emma's mysterious dark plan, she magically accelerates Zelina's pregnancy, causing her to give birth. Emma wants to put her darkness into Zelina, then kill her, ending the darkness for good. Hook thwarts Emma's plan, and Regina sends Zelina back to Oz so she and Robin can raise the baby safely on their own. Hook then regains his memories from Camelot, discovering that he had also been made a Dark One. Weeks ago, Regina, Robin, Zelina, Henry, Hook, Snow, and Charming traveled to Camelot to reunite with Emma, shortly after they were approached by King Arthur and his knights, who needed the help of the Savior to rescue Merlin, who had been imprisoned in a tree. As the Storybrooke residents devised a plan to free Merlin, they were also forced to deal with Emma's growing darkness. And when the knight Lancelot secretly showed up in Camelot, he warned Snow White that Arthur had some dark motives of his own. Years prior, the benevolent Arthur was deemed a worthy enough hero to pull the sword Excalibur from its stone, but was shocked to find part of its blade missing. That missing piece was used to create the Dark One's dagger, and now Arthur had become obsessed with completing Excalibur and using it to kill Merlin, making him powerful enough to be king of all of the realms. Meanwhile, Regina and Henry helped Emma free Merlin from his tree, and the sorcerer explained that to remove the darkness, they would need to retrieve Excalibur from Arthur. The group managed to defeat Arthur and retrieve the blade, but Hook was mortally wounded in the process. Instead of using the reforged Excalibur to remove the darkness from herself, Emma binded Hook to it, sparing his life but making him a new Dark One. The Dark Hook sought revenge on Gold, placed Excalibur back in the stone to ensure no one could control him, and then killed Merlin to enact the dark curse that would bring everyone back to Storybrooke. Not wanting Hook to remember his villainous deeds, Emma erased everyone's memories before they arrived back in Storybrooke. In the present, the Dark Hook seeks revenge on Gold. He then uses Rumplestiltskin's blood to summon every previous Dark One from the underworld. As the Dark Ones curse Emma's family and attempt to drag them into the underworld, Hook manages to break the Darkhold on himself long enough to ask Emma to stab him with Excalibur. A remorseful Emma does, killing Hook and all of the Dark Ones, and removing the darkness from Emma in the process. Unfortunately, Gold had a plan of his own, absorbing the power of all of the Dark Ones into himself, and creating a new dagger. When Emma threatens to tell Belle of his villainous scheme, Gold agrees to help transport Emma and her family to the underworld to find and save Hook. Emma's group travels to the underworld version of Storybrooke, filled with dead souls that have unfinished business. While there, they encounter Peter Pan, Cora, Mila, and the underworld's ruler, Hades. After finding Hook, the group decides to help liberate all of the lost souls of the underworld. The author's broken quill is also in the underworld, which Henry uses to help write happy endings for the lost souls. In turn, Hades traps them all in the underworld and forces Gold to work for him, threatening the life of his and Belle's unborn child. And so, on Hades' orders, Gold opens a portal to bring Belle, Zelina, and Zelina's baby to the underworld. Fearing for her baby's life, Belle places a sleeping curse on herself to delay her baby's birth until Hades is defeated. Hades has long harbored a love for Zelina and offers to trap everyone in the underworld while he and Zelina return to Storybrooke to rule in chaos together. Seeing the change from villain to hero that that Regina has made, Zelena believes that she and Hades can follow a similar path. Regina reluctantly supports her sister, and they reconcile with their mother Cora, who is then able to move on from the underworld into a peaceful afterlife. Gold's reunion with his own father Peter Pan doesn't go as successfully, as he tricks his father and banishes him to the eternal river of lost souls. Hades' growing love for Zelena restores his heart, and he opens a portal to allow everyone to return to Storybrooke. Unfortunately, Hook has been in the underworld too long, and his body isn't fit to return to the land of the living, and so Emma is forced to bid him an emotional farewell. Back in Storybrooke, Hades seeks out Zeus's thunderbolt, which would give him the power to kill anyone, including a god, destroying their soul completely instead of sending it to the underworld. Zelena is devastated to discover that her new love is actually as evil as everyone feared. Hades attacks Regina with the thunderbolt, but Robin sacrifices himself to protect her. In return, Zelena kills Hades to save her sister. As Regina mourns her true love's death, Zelena decides to name her newborn daughter Robin, to honor its heroic father. For their help in defeating Hades, the all-powerful god Zeus allows Hook to return to the land of the living. With Hades defeated, Gold attempts to wake up Belle with a true love's kiss. Unfortunately, Gold's continued dark ways have broken Belle's love for him, leaving her stuck under the sleeping curse. With no other options, Gold travels to the land of untold stories. Living there is the split personality of the good-natured Dr. Jekyll and his villainous alter ego Mr. Hyde. Jekyll devises a potion that separates his two halves into two different bodies. As Jekyll helps Regina fully sever herself from her evil queen persona, Hyde agrees to help wake up Belle, in exchange for Gold joining him in a mysterious evil plan of his own. In Season 6 of Once Upon a Time, Mr. Hyde arrives in Storybrooke and takes over the town, bringing along the inhabitants of the land of untold stories with him. Hyde upholds his deal with Gold, who goes into Belle's dreams to wake her. The manifestation of their unborn child offers to wake Belle up in exchange for her promise to stay away from Gold to ensure he wouldn't ruin another family. Belle agrees and is awakened, but Gold is devastated to have lost his family. Meanwhile, the evil queen arrives in Storybrooke and teams up with Mr. Hyde to enact revenge on Regina and her family. When Dr. Jekyll proves himself to be just as sinister as his Mr. Hyde persona, Hook is forced to kill them both. This causes Regina to become concerned that she will turn evil once again, leaving two evil queens for the Storybrooke residents to contend with. Emma then begins having visions of a hooded figure killing her with a sword, and as she tries to discover her potential murderer, she is unsure if it is an Untold Stories resident, the evil queen, or even Regina herself. Emma then meets with another savior, Aladdin, who had similar visions of his own death, and sought after the shears of fate to save himself. Unfortunately, using the shears doomed his home of Agrabah, and so he willingly gives the shears to Emma. The evil queen then places a sleeping curse on Snow White and Prince Charming, where only one of them can be awake at a time. In an effort to save Agrabah, Aladdin voluntarily traps himself inside a magical lamp to become a genie. The evil queen steals the lamp and wishes for Emma to have never been a savior, which instantly transports her to a land known as the Wish Realm. Regina follows Emma to the Wish Realm to save Emma, and upon their escape, Regina brings the Wish version of Robin Hood back to Storybrooke with them. Regina has her final confrontation with the evil queen, but decides to spare her life, and the two decide to share both the light and darkness in their hearts. The reformed evil queen then joins Robin in the Wish Realm, where they will finally have the chance of a happy ending. Meanwhile, Charming gives the genie lamp to Aladdin's love Jasmine, who returns with Aladdin to Agrabah to save their doomed kingdom. Belle gives birth to her son Gideon and asks the magical blue fairy to take him far away from Storybrooke and the grasp of his evil father Gold. Unfortunately, the blue fairy is attacked by Gold's villainous mother, the black fairy, who takes Gideon for herself. Gideon then returns to Storybrooke as a magically aged up adult and reveals to his shocked parents his plan to kill Emma, as her savior powers are the only things powerful enough to kill his evil grandmother, the black fairy. Belle reluctantly teams up with her ex-lover Gold to prevent their son from going fully evil. The son of Rumplestiltskin brings the black fairy to Storybrooke, who has secret secretly stolen Gideon's heart to control him into killing Emma. Gold learns that he was originally meant to be the savior, but his mother used the shears of fate to sever his ties to his destiny. Gold then makes a trade with his mother, earning back Gideon's heart in exchange for helping the Black Fairy in her fight against Emma, which is the prophesied final battle between darkness and light. As the final battle approaches, Hook and Emma get married in front of their family and friends. The Black Fairy then enacts a new curse, banishing all of the fairy tale characters back to the Enchanted Forest, and erasing Emma's memory, making her a non-believer in magic. The Black Fairy convinces Emma to burn the Book of Fairy Tales, causing all of the magical realms to start disappearing. Henry helps Emma start to believe in fairy tales again, causing the destruction of the Enchanted Forest to stop, moments before her family and friends are killed. After discovering that the Black Fairy has stolen Gideon's heart once again, Gold kills his mother, lifting her curse and returning everyone to Storybrooke. Despite the Black Fairy's death, Gideon is still controlled into engaging Emma in a final battle. Choosing to not succumb to the darkness, Emma surrenders and allows Gideon to kill her. This sacrifice ends the final battle and saves the light. And with Henry's true love kiss, Emma is resurrected. In the end, everyone gets their happy ending, with Emma and Hook acting as Storybrooke's new sheriffs, Regina staying on as the town's benevolent mayor, Snow and Charming happily raising the young Neil, and Gold and Belle reconciling, with Gideon transformed back into a baby to be raised by his parents with love. Years later, a young girl named Lucy travels to Seattle to visit an adult Henry, revealing that she is his daughter, his family are fairy tale characters, and that despite having lost his memories, he is needed to save the day. In Season 7 of Once Upon a Time, the adult and memoryless Henry is taken by his daughter Lucy to her home in Hyperion Heights, where a new curse has erased the memories of various fairy tale characters and transported them to the real world. Lucy becomes determined to make her father remember his past and reverse the newest curse. Several years prior, an 18-year-old Henry set out to have his own adventures, eventually finding himself in a new enchanted forest. In this alternate realm, he met and fell in love with Cinderella, but they were forced to contend with her evil stepmother, Lady Tremaine. Lady Tremaine was once Rapunzel, an innocent young woman who tried stealing from the witch Mother Gothel to provide for her family. Upon being caught by Gothel, she was cursed to stay in a tower forever. After several years, Rapunzel escaped the tower using her hair, only to find that her husband had remarried and had a new stepdaughter, Cinderella. Rapunzel cursed her husband's new wife, causing her to run away. When Rapunzel's daughter Anastasia and Cinderella fell through ice into freezing water, Rapunzel's husband chose to save Cinderella first, leaving Anastasia dying of hypothermia. Rapunzel brought her daughter to Gothel, who froze her in time to save her life, but Rapunzel then trapped Gothel in her own cursed tower. Over the years, Rapunzel became hardened, killed her husband, amassed power of her own as Lady Tremaine, and vowed vengeance on the innocent Cinderella. Years later, when a noble prince refused to marry Tremaine's other daughter Drizella, Tremaine murdered the prince and framed Cinderella. Henry then met the Wish Realm version of Hook, who was searching the realms for his missing daughter Alice, born after Hook was tricked into sleeping with Gothel. Alice believed that she must stay away from her father, as his heart had been cursed and their interactions could kill him. Regina also traveled to the new enchanted forest to reunite with Henry, in the hopes of finding her own true happy ending. Henry, Hook, and Regina teamed up with Cinderella and her friend Princess Tiana in a revolt against the villainous Lady Tremaine. Along the way, Henry and Cinderella fell in love and gave birth to a daughter, Lucy. Meanwhile, Rumpelstiltskin searched for a way to stop being the Dark One, which would allow him to grow old and live out the rest of his life with Belle. As they lived out their days at the edge of the realms, searching for a way to make Rumple mortal, Belle grew old and died. A heartbroken Rumple then traveled to the new enchanted forest to find a prophesied guardian that could strip him of his Dark One curse. Rumple discovered that his guardian is in fact Alice, who is in a relationship with Zelina's now adult daughter Robin. Lady Tremaine then sought out the heart of a true believer, hoping it would wake her frozen daughter Anastasia. First, she attempted to steal Henry's heart, then attempted to steal the heart of her own daughter Drizella. Devastated by her mother's betrayal, Drizella intentionally turned to evil, turning her heart dark and making it unusable for her mother. And in a further act of revenge against her mother, Drizella teamed up with Mother Gothel and her witch's coven to enact a new dark curse, just like the original that Regina cast to create Storybrooke. In order to enact the curse, they would need Regina's help, so Drizella poisons Henry to force her into cooperating. Now in the present, the memoryless Henry arrives with his daughter Lucy to meet the inhabitants of Hyperion Heights. Cinderella is now a struggling single mother named Jacinda, who loses custody of Lucy to her scheming stepmother Victoria, the former Lady Tremaine who has retained her memories and wants to use Lucy's true belief to revive Anastasia. Drizella has also retained her memories and has secretly locked up Gothel to help her continue to ruin her mother. Tiana is now Jacinda's friend and roommate Sabine. Alice and Robin are burgeoning lovers Tilly and Margot. Regina is now a bar owner named Roni, and Rumplestiltskin and the Wish Realm Hook are police detectives Weaver and Rogers. Drizella helps Regina remember her past, but the former evil queen can't lift the curse without having Henry die from his curse. As Lucy tries to get her parents Henry and Cinderella to fall in love and enact true love's kiss, which would lift the curse, Regina is forced to interfere and keep the past lovers separated. With Henry and Cinderella's love kept apart, Tremaine takes the opportunity to trick Lucy into losing faith in happy endings, then uses the young girl's tears to wake Anastasia, which then causes Lucy to fall into a coma. As Drizella tries to take Anastasia's powers for herself, Gothel betrays Drizella and locks her away with her mother, then aligns with Anastasia to enact her mysterious plan. Thousands of years ago, Gothel was born as a wood nymph on Earth. Afraid of their power, humans killed all of the nymphs, forcing Gothel to flee to the enchanted forest, ridding the world of magic. And now Gothel has assembled her witch's coven to kill all humans. But first, Gothel decides to help wake Lucy, but to do so she would need a sacrifice. When Drizella is chosen as that sacrifice, Tremaine sacrifices herself instead to save her daughter. This act causes Drizella and Anastasia to reconcile and return to their home in the enchanted forest. With the threat of Gothel looming, Regina and Lucy team up to find a way to lift the curse on the town, while also saving Henry's life. When Henry regains his memories, his true love's kiss is for his mother Regina, which lifts the curse on Hyperion Heights, restoring everyone's memory and magic. The town then bands together, and Alice is able to defeat Gothel and save humanity. Unfortunately, a new threat arrives, as the evil Wish Realm version of Rumpelstiltskin arrives to steal the Dark One's dagger from Weaver, making him all-powerful. Wish Rumple then returns to the Wish Realm, where he aligns with Wish Henry, who is also an author, to write happy endings for the villains and unhappy endings for the heroes. As the Hyperion Heights residents race to defeat Wish Rumple, they are joined in their fight by the residents of Storybrooke. As Wish Rumple and Wish Henry open portals that begin sucking the heroes into unhappy endings, Hook is forced to grab Alice's hand to save her, causing the curse on his heart to kill him. Regina manages to convince the Wish Henry that he is loved, causing him to turn on Wish Rumple, closing the portals and saving everyone. Weaver, whose time as gold with Belle has softened him, sacrifices his own heart to save Hook. Hook is resurrected and his curse is lifted, allowing him to embrace his daughter, while Weaver's sacrifice destroys Wish Rumple and allows the former Mr. Gold to pass on to the afterlife to reunite with Belle. As the series comes to a close, Regina unites all of the realms to live happily ever after in Storybrooke. Henry, Cinderella, and Lucy are reunited as a family. The original Hook and Emma have a baby of their own named Hope, and Regina is crowned the Good Queen to benevolently rule over them all.